Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. This is our 36th year, and we have some amazing films this year. One of all of our favorites is The Mattachine Family. I'm going to read a brief description of the film, and then we're going to meet the director of The Mattachine Family. Thomas and Oscar are a couple very much in love, but after their first foster child returns to his birth mother, they find they have different ideas about what it means to make a family. The Mattachine Family premieres it Out on Film on Sunday, September the 24th, and I'm so happy to welcome the director, Andy Vallentine.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for talking to us, and thanks so much for sharing this film. I remember vividly. I remember getting at the films like, "Oh, this sounds really good," and then one of our programmers watched it and I said, "You have to watch this film." It's like,
Love
man,
that.
I mean, it's so extraordinary. But can you sort of talk about the idea for this, how this came up?
Sure. I think that I'd been in Hollywood for a while trying to get different movies made, and they always say, the first film to tell something personal to you. And
Yeah.
so I work with my husband, Danny Valentine is the writer of the film,
Mm.
and we're kind of looking at our relationship and like what were the like sore points that we had? Like, is there something that we could like draw inspiration from? And kind of the biggest fight that we ever had was about Danny wanted kids and I didn't. And we thought that that would make kind of a very interesting film. That had been something, at that point that we had never really seen before. Like we had been able to see like, happy gay dads in media, right? Like Modern Family, it's happy, but it's not a drama, it's not that like, that indie film vibe. So that kind of sparked the inspiration for the film, and then it's gone from there.
Great. So can you just talk a little bit about working with your husband, how that dynamic works?
Oh, it is no, it is it's pretty good. It took like a little bit of time to figure it out, I think, at the beginning. Of like what, I'm a director, I am very much like, well, if it's blue or green, I'm like, it's green. Like I make that decision right then and there. And for Danny, he has to kind of think about things and mull over, oh, what if we did this or we did that? So it took a while to kind of figure out like our working relationship and what that would look like. And I think that we're able to find like a really nice medium where it was like Danny and I would, discuss the story, discuss the story beats,
Mm.
the what happens the next 20 pages or the next 25 pages of the script, and then Danny would go off and write it. And then I was able to after that go back and work together to improve and create something together.
That's great. So let's talk about this amazing ensemble. Obviously, we have to start with Nico. Nico Tortorella plays Thomas. Can you just sort of talk about where Thomas is as the film starts?
Sure. So Thomas is really when we find Thomas at the beginning, he's really conflicted. He has a foster child who has just returned to his birth mother, and so we're kind of meeting Thomas at a fork of the road. And what does he want to do? I think that for a while we think that he doesn't want to go down that path of having another child again. That was too traumatic for him, even though he like acknowledges that as a foster dad that wasn't his child, and that there always could have been a chance that the child goes back to his mom. That
Mhm.
loss is still something that was real and was really hurtful, for Thomas. So he's on that path. So he's hurt, but he also has that desire to be a dad again. So
Yeah.
um
Gotcha. Let's talk about this amazing ensemble because literally everywhere you look is like, oh my gosh, Carl
yeah.
and Heather and Emily, and it's like, well, I mean, how did you? I mean, first of all, who was the first person that you signed for the film?
The first person was Nico and Juan. I
Okay,
actually together.
okay,
We had an incredible casting director, Scott Boland, who also produced the film. Scott produces for or does casting for Robert Zemeckis, and he like casts for Flight and The Hobbit, and a massive Hollywood casting director. So I think that that like lended us, you know, a lot of credibility at the beginning, and so we got just like a lot of, you know, really incredible talent who were interested in the movie, you know, not only because they felt it was a compelling story, but that you know they were eager to work, I guess, with new filmmakers. So we were very fortunate. But yeah, we had just like this incredible cast from Nico to Juan Pablo. You know, we did multiple chemistry reads and they just seemed to have something. They clicked. They both also just, you know, just you know, after filming just kind of excelled like past my expectations.
Yeah.
And then yeah, rounding out with Emily Hampshire from Schitt's Creek and Heather Mazzarato and Carl Clemens Hopkins. It was really, you know, a dream, I guess, to work with such a incredible cast, especially for, you know, our first film.
Yeah. This seems to be very personal material for Nico.
Yeah, it had been the, you know, after with Nico and I talking, you know, during the casting process, this for him, he had been going through kind of very similar experience of like, do I want kids? Do I not want kids?
Mm.
Uh, and then he had started trying for kids with his partner. And so, you know, it touched close to home, I think, for him. And then, you know, he had his child a little less than a year ago. So, yeah, very, very close.
Everybody's amazing, but I have to ask you about Emily because I mean, a lot of people know Emily from Schitt's Creek, and she's, I mean, everybody's great, but Emily just is amazing here. Can you sort of talk about what she brings to the character?
Yeah, Emily plays Leah, who is Thomas's best friend in the film. And we, you know, Leah is that shoulder for Thomas to cry on, but also she has her own kind of complexities in the story. And she is also going through, you know, a similar journey where she wants children, and she's going through kind of an IVF phase. I think that we just you know, we're incredibly grateful for Emily for coming out and being a part of the film. She brought so much humor to that role,
Sure.
and also just brought so much to, you know, Thomas's and her relationship that the audience is gonna, you know, hopefully be able to connect with right away. I mean, the like first introduction of Emily is like, you know, hilarious, and you know, usually I'm like, okay, good, that's I've like won the audience over, you know, when Emily's scene kind of hits in the film.
Great. So if I'm correct, this is your first feature.
It is, yes.
What can
Yep.
I think we showed, if I'm correct, I think we showed a short film of yours last year or maybe the
You
year
did,
before.
yeah, you did. You showed The Letterman, which was a short that my husband and I did last year.
Yeah.
That premiered at Tribeca and played around. So it was like a we did that short, you know, because we've been trying to make Mattachine for many years, and so we did that short because we didn't think Mattachine was going to happen, and
Yeah.
so we shot that short in May, and then we ended up shooting Mattachine in November of that year. So it was just kind of this crazy thing to have like a short that first, and then the feature, you know, just a few months later.
Right. I mean, what was it like making your first film, your first full length film?
It was a dream kind of making my first film. It was like, it's like one of those, I don't know if it's like a cliche moment, but it's like I had always wanted to make movies. And when I walked on set, I was definitely ready for the directing aspect.
Okay.
I will say that directing and producing an film is very hard. The producing aspect, even though I run my own like production company in LA where we do commercials and music videos, and I'm used to kind of producing, you know, uh, big shoots. You know, there's sometimes like my one day commercial was like equal to, you know, half the budget of Mattachine Family, or even honestly, there's been some where it's like the entire budget of Mattachine Family was a one day shoot, you know, for a commercial. There was just like a ton of producing logistics because it was still, you know, indie, so you're relying on those favors from friends and from family to come out and help, but still a dream come true, and happy to have finally got it made.
Oh, that's great. So, can you talk to us a little bit about what is next for you and what is next for the Mattachine family?
Sure. So next for me is we will be sharing Mattachine family at a number of film festivals, and then hopefully we can get out there and get our next film launched in the next year and a half. So we've been like working on development on a few projects, and as soon as the writer's strike is over, knock on wood, hopefully very soon, we'll be able to go out and pitch those projects and then make our next one. And then Mattachine family will be playing in over 20 film festivals in the next six to 8 weeks around the world. And so I'll be traveling to a bunch of them. Very fortunate to be able to go to these festivals and meet audiences and talk about the film. And then we'll see. We're having like we've had a number of conversations with distribution companies as well. So hopefully we can solidify a deal in
Okay,
the next few weeks. So for everybody to be able to check it out eventually.
that's good. That is so exciting. Congratulations on you two for making the film, for sharing it with our audience. I cannot wait to share it with our audience, and I can't wait to have you and Nico down here for what promises to be a Q&A. So I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, can't wait.
Well, thanks so much, and we'll look
Yep.
forward to seeing you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jim.